3 a.m., a CEO alone in her office, a laptop open, an email, one sentence, send. 72 hours later, a billion-dollar empire no longer existed. This is the story of the email that destroyed everything, and the woman who never discovered who was really watching her. Her name was Victoria Hayes, 42 years old, CEO and founder of Meridian Capital, an investment firm that, in 14 years, went from a shared office in Manhattan to managing funds for Fortune 500 companies. Victoria wasn't the type of CEO who appears on magazine covers. She avoided the spotlight, preferred to let the numbers speak, and they spoke loudly. But in boardrooms dominated by men, numbers were never enough. She had to be flawless. Always. Victoria trusted 3 people. Robert Chen, her CFO, for 11 years. The man who organized her first investment round when no one else believed. Marcus Webb, COO, and best friend since business school. He left an executive position to join her at the beginning. And Catherine Hale, the angel investor who bet on her when everyone else said it was too soon, too risky, too young. 3 people, 3 pillars. And at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday in November, one of those pillars was about to collapse all the others. What no one knew, not Robert, not Marcus, not the investors, is that Victoria had been blackmailed for 6 months. It all started with an envelope, no return address. Inside, copies of documents Victoria thought she had destroyed 9 years ago. Documents from an internal audit that she had adjusted to hide losses of $3.8 million in Meridian's early years. She didn't steal. She didn't embezzle. She just smoothed the numbers while the company found its footing. Something she'd seen other CEOs do dozens of times without consequences. But she knew that if those documents reached the SEC, no one would ask why. They'd only ask who. And the answer would be the woman CEO. The message was simple. Pay $500,000 or these documents go to the SEC. Victoria paid once, twice, 3 times. But blackmail never stops. And at 3 a.m., she received the final email from the blackmailer. Subject, last chance. Body of the email, Victoria, you've paid $2.1 million over the last 6 months. I know you think you can track me down. I know you hired a digital security firm. I know because I work at Meridian. If you want this to end, transfer another $5 million by Friday. Or I send everything to Robert, Marcus, and the board Monday morning. Victoria read that 9 times. I work at Meridian. The betrayal wasn't coming from outside. It was coming from within. From someone she saw every day. Someone she greeted in the hallways. Someone she trusted. And then she made the worst decision of her life. Victoria wasn't going to pay anymore. She was going to fight back. At 3:17 a.m., she wrote an email to Catherine Hale, the investor who trusted her blindly. Or at least, that's what Victoria believed. Subject, I need to talk to you. Urgent. Just the 2 of us. Victoria typed everything. The blackmail, the documents, the adjusted audit from 9 years ago. She asked for help. She asked for discretion. She asked Catherine to help her discover who at Meridian was doing this. And then, she wrote something that sealed her fate. Catherine, you were the only one who always believed I deserved to be here. I can't lose this now, not after everything I've proven. She pressed send at 3:22 a.m. What Victoria didn't know is that Catherine Hale's email had been cloned 3 weeks earlier. And who was on the other side was Robert Chen. Robert Chen wasn't just blackmailing Victoria, he was building a case. 10 months ago, he discovered the audit irregularities while preparing Meridian to go public. He confronted Victoria privately. She explained. Those were the early years. Numbers were adjusted to survive. She compensated for everything later. Robert listened, nodded, said he understood, but Robert didn't understand. Robert remembered every time investors questioned whether Victoria had enough experience. Every time boards preferred him for strategic presentations. Every time she received credit for decisions that he had structured. And then he began documenting everything, recordings of conversations, copies of emails, suspicious bank transfers. And then he initiated the blackmail. Not for the money, for control. Because while Victoria paid, while she destabilized, while she made increasingly worse decisions, Robert was building the perfect case to prove what he'd always suspected, that she should never have been there in the first place. When Victoria sent that email at 3:22 a.m., she handed Robert everything he needed. A complete confession, in writing, admitting audit adjustments, admitting blackmail payments, and revealing her deepest fear: I can't lose this now, not after everything I've proven. Monday 9 a.m. Robert called an emergency board meeting. He presented the adjusted audit from 9 years ago, recordings of Victoria admitting it, the 3:22 a.m. email confessing everything, and something more: unauthorized fund transfers from the company to personal accounts. Transfers Victoria never made, but that appeared in her name. Victoria was removed as CEO at 11:34 a.m. Tuesday. The SEC opened a formal investigation. Investors began withdrawing funds. Financial media published, Woman CEO accused of fraud. Wednesday, Meridian Capital lost $920 million in value. Robert Chen was named interim CEO. Victoria Hayes was being sued by 9 different entities, and she still didn't understand how everything had collapsed so quickly. 4 months later, Victoria was in her apartment when she received a call from Marcus Webb. Marcus had discovered something. Robert wasn't working alone. The investor Catherine Hale, the woman Victoria considered a mentor, had been involved from the beginning. Catherine wanted to take over Meridian. Robert wanted the CEO position. They orchestrated everything: the discovery of the audit, the blackmail, the cloned email, the fake transfers. But here's the part Victoria never discovered. Marcus also knew. From the beginning, he was the one who gave the recordings to Robert, because Marcus remembered. Every time investors asked if he shouldn't be the CEO, every meeting where Victoria made the final decision while he did the work. Every time she was celebrated while he remained in the shadows. The 3 people Victoria trusted were all beneath the glass floor, watching, waiting, expecting her to prove that they were always right, that she never deserved to be there. Victoria Hayes never returned to the corporate world. Meridian Capital was sold 11 months later for $380 million, a third of its original value. Robert Chen is CEO of another firm now. Catherine Hale was never investigated. Marcus Webb disappeared from public records. 1 email, 1 decision, 1 moment of vulnerability at 3 a.m., and an empire built over 14 years vanished in 72 hours. Because sometimes the greatest danger isn't outside the empire. It's beneath the glass floor. Watching, waiting, recording, waiting for you to prove they were always right. This is Glass Floor, where every empire hides a secret beneath the surface. Subscribe and discover what lies beneath.